What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, a comic book podcast that talks about movies, TV shows, comic books, and typically we feature beer of the week. This week's episode is going to be a little different than normal. Typically, we go into what we've messed up on, some news, what we've been reading and watching, and then a main topic. However, we are recording ahead due to some just busy life circumstances, right? So with the release of Across the Spiderverse coming out this week, we decided we're going to do a quick little recap of Spiderverse, Into the Spiderverse, that is, and then we're going to talk briefly about Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2099 to get you ready. A couple things first. As always, please check us out, Hops Geek News, on any podcasting platform, on any social media platform. Come follow us, come hang out with us. And if you feel so inclined to support the show in any sort of way, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews is where you can do that. Also, join our Discord because Twitter is dying as well in some form or fashion. So come hang out with us on Discord. We have various channels, one specifically for Patreons. And then we also have ones like Supernatural. We've got general discussions. If you're into beer, we've got a whole beer related one. So hang out with us. The link is in the bio of this episode. That said, I'm Matt. With me is Lauren. And let's go across the Spiderverse, shall we? Why don't you start us off, Lauren, with the recap of Into the Spiderverse, which is probably one of the best soundtracks for a movie because we still listen to that all the time. What's Up Danger is regularly played in my car. It's like my son's favorite song ever.
And they have Biggie on at one point. Like, so they have, there's stuff for the parents too. I'm drinking a beer though. I just cracked open a non-alcoholic beer because it's 10 o'clock in the morning and because this is a PG movie. So I thought that's
true.
And I got to pick up my kids soon, but yeah. So if you want to check out the non-alcoholic beers, Athletic Brewing is distributing widely and they're not so bad. I got to say, it's nice. Like at the end of the night, if I shouldn't have another beer, but I want another beer, this is a much better choice than having another beer.
That's very true. Yeah. Like, if you're trying to fit in, not the fit in's a bad choice of words, but a lot of people don't want to drink, but they want to have that social aspect, and it's Well-Being Brewing and Athletic are leading the way in non-alcoholic beers, but like a lot of breweries are also diving into that NA market. And I'm cool with it because it's a healthier option.
Someone's got to drive.
Yeah, you can still be drinking IPAs and stuff if that's what you want, and it's more inclusive. So I'm all about it.
I mean, if it wasn't 10:30 in the morning, I would be having a real beer. But this isn't bad.
A beer in a week now, so
should go get some Athletic beer.
That's true.
I feel like Wayne from Wayne's World. Like, what are you talking about, man? This beer is great.
It's the most non-addictive blender out there.
I hate when people sell out to sponsorships. We're not sponsored by them at all. I paid for this beer. So Into the Spiderverse recap. We start with Peter Parker, who was basically Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker's past, but now he's 26. Then we meet Miles, who is a kid. He gets bit, and as he starts to get his powers, he actually runs into Spider-Man, Peter Parker, while he's fighting Green Goblin and Kingpin as they try to open a portal to another universe. They're doing this because Kingpin's wife and son died, so he's trying to find ones that are alive. They died in a car accident, escaping Kingpin after seeing Kingpin punch Spider-Man. They're like, "Who are you?" It's clearly not the same
Vanessa. You're not my father.
From Daredevil, because Vanessa from Daredevil was turned on by him being evil.
Yeah, it's weird.
I liked their dynamic. I heard she got recast. And I was
she did. I'm sad about that.
She was so classy too. She was like Mon Mothma, even though she was evil. It's like that classiness of just like, they command power. Yes. Okay. Peter quickly gives Miles some advice because he can sense that they are like each other. And as he leaves, he sees Kingpin actually kill Peter Parker. Then as Miles is at Peter's grave.
Hold on. What? I did not expect that to happen. Like, let's just say going into a kids movie, they killed not Spider-Man.
Ben. Right. Not Uncle Ben. They killed
That was Spider-Man. A surprise to me. I did not see that. When they did that, I was like, oh my God, this is a children's movie? Good heavens. Pearl clutching, but that was ballsy. I liked it.
Pearl clutching. So, yes, after he dies, then we see Miles at Peter's grave. And then all of a sudden, a divorced, not in the greatest shape, Peter B. Parker shows up and he gets sucked in because he got sucked into Miles' universe. The two of them then break into a lab and get attacked by Dr. Olivia Octavius. So this is their Doc Ock. Meanwhile, Spider-Gwen then shows up to save the day, another Spidey from another universe. Then Peter B., Miles, and Gwen go to see Aunt May. Enter Spider-Ham, Spider-Man Noir, and Penny Parker.
Spider-Man Noir, shout out Nicolas Cage.
Then Miles sneaks into his uncle's house and learns he's one of the bad guys. He's Prowler. So Uncle Aaron is Prowler. Dun dun dun. A fight ensues between everyone, and as Prowler is about to kill Miles, Miles takes his face mask off, and Uncle Aaron panics and backs off, only to be shot by Fisk because he didn't kill Miles. All the other Spider Peoples then tie up Miles and go to fight without him because they don't think he's ready. He then breaks free, and Aunt May gets him his fancy new uniform, and now he is ready. He had his
What's up, Danger?
Real quick. And then all the Spider-Men fight. They fight all the bad guys, and they reverse Fisk's machine, and then the Spider People start going back to their own universes. It is now Miles versus Fisk. Miles wins in the end, while his dad watches and roots him on, not knowing it is his son. And then they had a moment where his dad has Spider-Man say "I love you" to him, and he's like, "What?" Because he doesn't understand. So that's the main gist of it. Rewatched it last night with my kids. It's just such a good movie.
It is amazing. It's probably, my son's favorite character is Miles Morales from this movie. Like, he is obsessed with Miles because of this movie, and this movie's freaking good, man. Oh, it's so good. And so a couple fun facts about this movie. The animators wanted to draw Stan Lee so that he makes more than one obvious cameo. He can also be seen in many subways throughout the movie. There were 70 different designs with Miles being invisible before they landed on what we saw in the movie. And then it usually takes a team of animators a week to create 4 seconds of animation. But on Into the Spiderverse, it took the animators a month to create 4 seconds. Absolutely insane.
I know. That's like worse than Nightmare.
Yeah. Peter B being divorced was a nod to the never made Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4. Shout out. And then John Mulaney was told to have fun with the role and improvise. So he was cursing a lot until he asked what it would be rated. It's kind of funny.
Oh, this is something I watched this week. He has a new stand-up.
He does.
I think he is hilarious, but apparently he ended up having to go to rehab recently, got his life cleaned up, saved his life.
Good
but he's still, absolutely good for him. Still hilarious. Go check it out. It's on Netflix.
All right. So diving into the character of Miles Gonzalez Morales, he is from Earth 1610, aka the Ultimate Universe. Miles first appeared in the Ultimate Comics Fallout issue number 4, which was published in August of 2011. He was created by Sarah Pichelli, Brian Michael Bendis, Stan Lee, and Steve Ditko. The inspiration for Miles was Barack.
You haven't heard him? Barack Obama? Never heard of him?
The inspiration for Miles was Barack Obama and Donald Glover. Glover actually had a little cameo in Homecoming as Uncle Aaron, and he voiced Miles in an animated Ultimate Spider-Man series. There was a whole thing there for a bit where Donald Glover was supposed to play Spider-Man or something, or rather, I forget the exact details, which is how we kind of get that nod. He was supposed to play into this somehow. So moving on, Miles' uncle, Aaron Davis, aka the Prowler, steals the formula from Oscorp and accidentally takes a spider similar to the one that bit Peter Parker with him. Miles gets bitten by this spider. Uncle Aaron got the spider called Specimen 4 from Oscorp.
42. Sorry. You see that in the movie too. There's actually a 42 on the spider. So it's Specimen 42.
Uncle Aaron got the spider called Specimen 42 from Oscorp because Green Goblin was trying to recreate the recipe to make Spider-Man. Later on, much like in the movie, Miles sneaks out of school to watch the Green Goblin and Spider-Man fight. In the comics, however, both of them died. And this is when Miles blames himself for not helping. Similar to the movie, he was inspired to step up at Peter's funeral when Gwen Stacy, instead of MJ, said the all-famous quote, "With great power comes great responsibility." So he buys a Halloween costume to fight crime until S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Jessica Drew, a.k.a. Spider-Woman, gifts him a new uniform, and he officially becomes Spider-Man.
I like in the movie, though, when MJ's up there and he's like, oh, so I have to like step up. And the guy next to him, he goes, I think it's metaphorical, dude. She's not talking to you directly.
There was a lot of great nods here and there to that. And a quick shout out to the Spider-Man game. You kind of get introduced to Miles a little bit in that game. Really fantastic on the PS4/PS5. Spider-Man 2, the video game, is supposed to come out this fall with Miles, Spider-Man, and even Venom. So keep on the lookout for that. We're supposed to be getting a trailer hopefully soon. However, the powers that Miles have, similar obviously to Peter Parker, but also a little different. We're the same,
like an upgrade,
but different. So of course he has superhuman strength, superhuman speed, superhuman reflexes, superhuman durability. Take a drink every time I say superhuman. He has camouflage ability, though. So he has near invisibility, his spider sense, or his Peter tingle, if you will, which is a bit stronger than the average Spidey sense or the Peter tingle.
It's almost like a precog.
Yes.
Like he can see the future more so than just sense the future.
Exactly. And he has venom blasts. He can crawl on walls. He has energy blast, and he has electric webbing, kind of like organic webbing, but he can electrocute. So he has some different things, which makes sense because you can't give him the same exact powers as Peter Parker. That would just be redundant.
They really did make him have way cooler stuff. I just feel like the difference is he's not as graceful when he first seems to get all of it, but he also didn't want it.
Right.
So he Jon Snowed it at the beginning, whereas Peter Parker was like, woohoo, I'm strong. Powers. Yeah. Let's go.
Peter was also like a teenager when he gets to stuff. So it's just a matter of.
Well, they both were.
Well, yeah, that's just like a cool seeing the opposite ends of.
Yeah. But also you see like Peter Parker is supposed to be more of like a quote unquote dork.
Yes.
Whereas Miles, you see him and he's like, hey, what's up? How's your weekend? All right, man. How you doing? You doing good? Yeah. And then he's got his whole style with like the shoes and everybody's telling him they're untied. And he's like, it's a choice. So I feel like that's it too. It's like Miles, outside of being forced to go to this private school he doesn't want to go to, he is happy with who he is in his life and just wants to be more of who himself is, where I feel like Peter is not. So the powers make him happier with himself.
Let me hit you with some fun facts before Lauren hits us with Spider-Man 2099. So while Miles started out on Earth 1610, he is now a 616 superhero. The original 616, that is. Miles had spent a lot of time working for the one and only Wilson Fisk. This version of Miles eventually found himself in conflict with his younger, superpowered counterpart along with Peter Parker. However, he made his way to Earth 1610. He ended up in 616 thanks to Molecule Man, who brought his mom back from the dead and brought him and his family to 616. Rio, who's his mom, does not remember dying. Miles was once bonded to the Carnage symbiote. And then he also dated Kate Bishop, aka Hawk Girl. And unlike Peter, Miles was not excited when he got his powers. So that's a little bit of dive into the Miles Morales life. Lauren, why don't you hit us with some Spider-Man 2099, who will be played by none other than Oscar Isaac?
Moon Knight himself. So Spider-Man 2099 first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 365 back in August 1992. And then he came again with more of a story in Spider-Man 2099 number 1 in November of that same year. He was created by Peter David, Rick Leonardo, Nardi, Stanley, and Steve Ditko. Miguel O'Hara is his name, and he is from Earth 928. So I'm going to read an expert. I'm going to do a little church here. I'm going to read an expert from the book of Marvel Encyclopedia. So his first story is basically opening on a new Spider-Man on the run from the police, and this is Spider-Man 2099, chronicled the life of Miguel O'Hara. O'Hara had just quit his position as head of the genetics program at the large corporation Alchemax, which was mentioned in Into the Spiderverse. That is the building where Doc Ock is working. So they're breaking into that. So that's definitely going to have a correlation and show up in the movie. When an experiment was rushed without his permission, permanently mutating a willing test subject. Yeah, this book is great. I always reference this book when we do stuff. So now I'll go back to here.
Yeah, I keep them at the same time. I always keep like a good encyclopedia for DC and Marvel on hand.
Yeah. I usually start there, but like last night I didn't read any of this and I read it this morning and I'm like, I should read some from this book. Okay. So 2099, like we said, it begins in 1992 and it shows a dystopian type future. Now we saw, if you listen to our interview with David Pepos, we talked about Punisher 2099. So this 2099 is not just Spider-Man. This is a common, since 1992, this is a common thing brought up. Miguel is ridiculously smart. Like we said, he's the head of genetics at Alchemax. And after a subject passes away, that's what we're saying, he feels guilty. And he tries to quit. But the VP of Research and Development, Tyler Stone, tricks him into drinking an addictive substance and then attempts to blackmail him. Miguel uses his own experiment to then rewrite his DNA to cure his addiction. But instead, he gains 50% of his genetics from a spider. And he sees an opportunity here to protect ordinary people because of abusive corporations. So he does not like abusive corporations and he decides to use his powers for good. And that's how he becomes Spider-Man 2099. In a twist, though, he later discovers Stone is his father. His mom also shot his dad and he found out his brother was the Goblin. So he's got lots of family drama.
There's just a lot going on in this man's life.
Yeah. And I had thought I'm like, is he a villain? Like I was kind of confused. So I don't know how they're going to portray it necessarily in the movie. The trailer looks phenomenal.
Yeah, the trailer kind of makes it seem like he's in between, if you will. Because it looks like he gets into some quarrels with Miles for whatever reason. Like he's got his own agenda, sort of, if you will.
Well, I did read, though, that I think his bedside manner might not be the best. So he might, still be like, no, I'm doing this, for the betterment of whatever. And I have my reasons, but he may just not play well with others. So Alchemax is part of Oscorp. At one point, they were taking ordinary citizens and giving them powers like Norse gods, similar to Thor and Heimdall, and brainwashing them into believing they were actually real gods. So Spider-Man 2099 then teamed up with Doom 2099, Ravage, and X-Men 2099, and a few more to stop them from doing this and stop them from brainwashing, because brainwashing is bad. So in 1995, Miguel and Peter Parker of 1995, they woke up and found they had switched places. So it's
always a fun Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday, 100 years apart. In the comics, he's also traveled the Spider-Verse with other spider folk like himself. He joins the other spider heroes, including Lady Spider, in the fight against the Inheritors on Loomworld, eventually defeating the Inheritors. After most of the other spiders are sent to their home worlds, Miguel and Spider-Gwen help stop Superior Spider-Man from destroying the web of life and destiny in an attempt to alter his fate. He once held the Mjolnir.
Interesting.
So that's really all I have from him. I didn't dive too deep down, but I was very surprised I expected a villain just based on the trailer.
I don't know too much about Spider-Man 2099. I will be honest. Like I've been doing some diving in myself, especially to prepare for this, and kind of so the beautiful thing about Spider-Man is at the core, they are always trying to do good. Doesn't matter, how it all goes. So I can't wait, because especially for Across the Spiderverse, there's been rumors of like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man possibly popping up, Tom Holland Spider-Man possibly popping up. But I personally love that Miles is the center focus, because I kind of feel, now this might be a hot take, I think right now in the comics, we should move away from Peter Parker for a little bit. I feel like we've done a lot with Peter Parker. Maybe we let him rest for a little while and really push Miles to the centerfold of be the Spider-Man. Like, I just feel like, yeah, Miles has some stories, but I feel like he should be the centerfold. The spotlight should be on him for a while. Let Peter Parker kind of rest for a bit, because we have a lot of Peter Parker stories. So I want more Miles. Yeah. And that's just maybe a hot take of mine.
I don't think that's a hot take at all. I do wonder, though, because Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is referenced in the trailer. So they do like these subtle nods, because even at the beginning when they're describing the first Peter Parker,
talks about the events of Far From Home, or not Far From Home.
No, he talks about the Sam Raimi trilogy. Like he even talks about Bully Maguire. Like he goes through that whole thing. But then the fact that this Spider-Man dies at 26, it can't be the Tobey Maguire, because Tobey Maguire is alive in No Way Home. That's true. So this has to be another one, but it's still
That's the beauty of the multiverse. You can die, but there's always someone other of you out there. We can always pull back in.
Yeah, just when you think you're out, the multiverse pulls you back in. But no, I agree, and I feel like that's what DC had been messing up on, was they just kept doing more Superman and Batman, whereas now they're finally getting into other characters. Maybe not doing them right, but James Gunn will fix that.
In James Gunn we trust. I am wicked excited for this movie to come out. I know we're both going to see it. I know I'm going to take the kids to see it. Oliver's beyond stoked. So we'll probably have a review of that movie coming up here soon. In the meantime, folks, that's all we have for you this week. Kind of a shorter episode, but hopefully this gets you ready for the movie, gets you hyped up. Let us know your thoughts. As always, come hang out with us, chat with us. We can't wait to hear what you think about the movie, or think about the movies that we saw last week. And Lauren, do you have anything?
No, I don't. Cheers. Right. I'm going to go finish my non-alcoholic beer.
She's going to finish her non-alcoholic beer. I'm going to go throw some ice on my softball size, basketball size knee. And we will reconvene next week with some more exciting, whatever it is. I don't even know at this point.
We got Indiana Jones coming up.
We have Indiana Jones coming up. So that's kind of a peek into June, if you will. We have the Flash coming up. So we're probably going to talk some Flash. We've got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny coming up. So we're probably going to talk about that. And then July, moving into that, we have Oppenheimer and the Barbie movie coming. June and July.
Doing lots of Rebels origin stories for Ahsoka.
For Ahsoka. So get ready. We have a summer full of fun and excitement. Make sure you come hang out with us, share with a friend. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.